Hi YouTube, this is Dion from Your Guitar Academy and I've got a really cool George Benson style lick for you here. If you like what you see, then head on over to Your Guitar Academy Pro, the brand new online area, to check out the course that I've written specifically to help you learn to play like George Benson. So here's the lick. So what we're doing here is we're picking a target note and we're approaching it from 2 frets below, in fact, using an octave shape across a couple of different strings. So our target notes are actually simple as that. Okay, so we're gonna have to approach from 2 frets below each one. So that would be like, okay, so that would mean my first finger's on the 8th fret here and it's just going 8, 9, 10. Same on the next string. Okay, now we do 7, 8, 9 on the G. Okay, and then we have, then 5, 6, 7 on the G. Okay, to make it even more George Benson-y, we're going to play that using octaves. Okay, so an octave basically means you're playing 2 of the same note at the same time, except one is at a slightly lower pitch and the other one is at a higher pitch. It sounds something like that. So you can play them together and it just sort of fattens it up a little bit and it makes it sound really cool and kind of instantly jazzy. So to do that, this first shape we're going to be using, we start with our first finger on the 5th fret of the G. And we have our 4th finger on the 8th fret of the E. Okay, so what we actually have to do, because as you can see there's a string between those two, okay, so you have to make sure your first finger is very slightly, not too arched up in the air, okay, so you want it kind of curved down a little bit like this, so you're actually resting it on that B string there. So you should be able to strum it like that without getting this horrible kind of B string ringing out, okay? And you just need to kind of maintain that shape throughout the whole sequence. So for the first part, remember how I said we start with our first finger on the 5th fret of the G? We're just simply going to move up 3 frets from there. So we go like that. Okay, so you might want to do it with like a down, up, down as well. So you go like that. Okay. For the next part, we keep this exact same finger shape. So this is a really important shape. I definitely recommend getting used to this because it can come in handy. Not even just in jazz music, it's everywhere really, anytime you play the guitar. So we take that same shape and just simply move it like that down to the next string. So our first finger is now on the 5th fret of the D as opposed to the G. So we're now on the 5th fret of the D, which means the 4th finger should be on the 8th fret of the B. And we do the same thing. So we go, okay, so here there's another little thing to look out for as well. So you want to avoid hitting that high E. So again, your first finger's curling around over that G now and also just touching that high E as well very slightly. So you get something that's like that. Okay, the next one we actually change shape. Okay, so we now move back to the 5th fret, but we move our first finger down to the A string like this. Okay, but now we don't use the 4th finger anymore, we use the 3rd finger. So that's my 3rd finger now on the 7th fret of the G. Okay, so I've got my first finger on the 5th fret of the A string, 3rd finger on the 7th fret of the G. And what happens is, again, same thing, watch your first finger there as well and ensure that it's muting that middle string, sorry. And you can do the same like that, just again up 3 frets, because this note here was our target note. And then lastly, after that one, you just jump down to the 3rd fret with exactly the same shape and just simply work your way up to the 5th fret. So you go like that. So all together really slowly. We start with the first finger on the 5th fret of the G and you do, okay, and then you move, remember, downwards, the next string down, back to the 5th fret, okay, and then you move down again, but now using the 1st and 3rd on the 5th fret to the 7th fret, stay on that string, move to the 3rd fret, up to the 5th. And the thing about George Benson, he plays these things so unbelievably fast. So do take your time with these initially. You want to make sure that you kind of lead with your first finger, okay? So the first finger is the one that you really want to be paying attention to, and your 4th finger should just hopefully eventually just naturally fall into that octave shape, and you won't even really have to think about it too much. So that's the full lick. So like that, and then you add that little kind of one on the end there, so like that. Oh, I missed it, but there we go. And that just sort of puts a little full stop on the phrase and says, right, that's that lick done, and then you can move on to another one. So yeah, that concludes this George Benson-y chromatic octave lick. So please do check out the online course if you enjoyed that, and yeah, good luck.